experience down to Alana.
Joe, Cody Bellinger, the first Dodger of the 6 to be able to take center stage at his first All-Star game here in Miami. Of course, that home run derby on Monday, and Cody Bellinger represented the Dodgers very well. Getting into that second round by hitting a home run there at the end of the first round, putting him into some bonus time to allow him to swing the bat again. He gets another home run to push him to the second round. Of course, his father, a big leaguer himself, Clay Bellinger, being able to throw to Cody. He said, "Thanks, much love, old man," to Clay Bellinger after the home run derby was over. Cody told me earlier today that the most special moment of the derby was being able to hit that last home run to force him getting into the second round. He said he liked the format. He goes, "But man, I was tired. I knew I wasn't going to win after that." Congratulations to Cody Bellinger and all 6 of the All-Stars. Of course, Cody turning 22 yesterday, guys.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. Nomar, you were in a couple of home run derbies yourself, so you can relate with what he was talking about.
I like the format that he touched on, and it doesn't matter what format, the new one, and even the old one. You are tired and exhausted.
He and the Dodgers today will face off with the Marlins here in Game 1 of this series, and the best that they have to offer at this point. Dan Straley, who spent his All-Star break becoming a father. His wife gave birth to their first son on Sunday. That was 2 days after he went 8 1/3 against the Giants in the longest start of his career.
Yeah, really has been the ace of this Marlins staff. And you look at the bottom there, that 1.99 ERA in his last 5 starts. The Marlins did win all 5 of those starts as well. And he comes at you in the strike zone. He is not walking. If you look at his last 42 2/3 innings pitched, he's only issued 4 walks over that period of time. He's going to come at you with a good slider, good changeup that he goes to get you off balance and get miss hits. He has a really high fly ball percentage. But with his fastball, he likes to keep it down for a sinker, but he will elevate a 4-seamer out of the zone to try to make you chase.
And how about the Dodger lineup that he'll face off against? Chris Taylor, the first man to bat leadoff here in the second half. Then it'll be Seager, Turner, and Bellinger. With those 3 batting 2, 3, and 4, the Dodgers averaging more than 6 runs per game. Forsythe bats 5th. Jock Peterson at center hitting 6th. Grandal catches McCarthy, who bats behind Yasiel Puig. The Dodgers finished the first half on a 6-game winning streak, and by winning 26 of their last 30 games to carry the best record in baseball at 61-29 here into the second half. The Marlins, meanwhile, got quietly hot themselves. They won 5 of 6 over the final week and have been the second best team in the National League behind the Dodgers since late May. All right, good to see you, baseball. It's back, and the second half is underway with ball 1. Chris Taylor, one of the big stories of the first half for the Dodgers, opening the season in AAA, getting the call up and showing off that new swing. It's been a difference maker for him.
I mean, really, he even touched on it. He's been interviewed and asked about his new swing, how he tinkered it with it in the offseason. But he also said that getting sent down early in the season might have been, a bonus for him, because he says it really gave him confidence. He struggled for a little bit, but he rather struggled down there.
And he yanks a base hit down the left field line. Ozuna cuts it off and holds Taylor to a leadoff single.
And there we see it right there, the confidence that we talked about. That was something that when he got called up this year, that he had. He said, I also got experience playing outfield down there in AAA, but I also really got to hone in my swing, and he has not looked back. He has been a boost and an impact on this team, along with Cody Bellinger, since they've been up here.
Leadoff man on, and here's Corey Seager. All-star in both of his full major league seasons. Came in partway through the game with Zach Cozart winning the fan vote, starting at short for the National League. Played the second half of the game. Seager really over the last month of that first half, around that hamstring tightness, got hot, hit .354 in his last 25 games. That one's hit foul, and it's 1-1. Second time the Dodgers have seen Dan Straley this year. Faced off with him in May during that series where the Dodgers won 3 of 4. Straley was the lone guy to beat them. Wasn't dominant. 3 runs over 5 2/3, but got a ton of run support in that game. '28-year-old from Oregon to Corey Seager with a 1-1 that's belted to center. Yelich on the run. He's under it for the first out. Back to first goes Taylor. Up comes Justin Turner. And he and Bellinger in the starting lineup at the same time. The Dodgers 33-9 this year, averaging close to 6 runs per game. And it feels like there should be more games where they've both been in the lineup. But they've got the few weeks at the start of this season where Bellinger was in the minors, and then the few weeks where Turner was on the DL.
But either way, when you look at this Dodger lineup, these guys, I mean, an opposing pitcher, opposing team, the catcher's looking at it, said, okay, where's the easy out? There really isn't one, and especially with these guys in there.
Turner looks at a strike. What an experience for him, getting to play in his first All-Star game. Record number of votes to get him there on the final vote. Almost 21 million. With a runner at first and 1 out, he looks at strike 2. Comes in leading baseball, hitting .377. Well, there was all the talk of the historical nature of that number going into the All-Star break. And now you can kind of turn your attention to him trying to chase down the first Dodger batting title since the '60s. So trying to play catch up as far as the plate appearances, having missed the few weeks with the injury. But once he does, he has a huge lead over the field.
I think there was some concern when he went on the DL because he had such a hot start, but would that kind of slow him down, and he picked up right where he left off since coming off the DL.
Here's an 0-2. The slider's taken low. Tommy Davis, the last Dodger to win a batting title, did it in back-to-back years, 1962 and 1963. Could Justin Turner be the next? But Taylor at first and 1 out. Here's a 1-2. Got his hands in and pulled it foul.
Dan Straley, we were just talking about all the success that he's had so far this season, and usually when he finds himself in trouble, it's usually early in the game where teams are able to capitalize, especially in that first inning before he settles down. And then once he settles down, and if he has a good feel for that curveball or that break, that slider of his and changeup, that's when teams really have trouble scoring off of him.
Good lead for Taylor. 2-2. Straley, if you had answered this question and gotten this right, I would have crowned you the trivia king. But since the All-Star break last year, Max Scherzer leads baseball in wins. Straley is second. Turner flips it into short center field. That one sinks in for a base hit. Read well by Chris Taylor, and the Dodgers at the corners with 1 out.
I'll tell you, Justin Turner, this is one where you can, where the pitcher's going, I can't believe you get it off the end of the bat and it ends up finding grass for a base hit. So the pitcher's frustrated at it. But as a hitter, you're thinking, I earned this one. I fought off some tough pitches, got some in, laid off some tough pitches in order to at least have that fall in for me. So good at bat by Justin Turner.
Oh, when you're hitting 377 at the break, you get some of those to fall in for you. Although the other side of that could say that you're due to have those not happen. That's how Turner's second half starts. And up comes Bellinger.
You and I have had the luxury of watching Turner over the course of the season and watching him hit 377, and he really hasn't had too many.
You're right.
It has been squaring that ball up on a regular basis.
Cody's an old guy now. Turned 22 yesterday. Heck of an all-star break for him. The word break didn't really apply. Had the Derby on Monday, the game on Tuesday, little break Wednesday, before celebrating his birthday yesterday. That's outside, and it's 2-1. He and the guys hopped on a boat, spent some time out in the sun. With runners at the corners in the first inning, Bellinger hits it foul, and it's 2-2.
And often you'll see, no matter if Dave Roberts did this, was he gave Cody Bellinger in that last week before the All-Star break. He had like a day off. He tried to give that. You usually try to give that to your All-Stars, either that before or even after. I won't be surprised if we see it even afterwards, maybe this week.
A little jam shot to short. JT Riddle's got it, and 2 out. Bellinger unable to bring home Taylor from third. And really, Bellinger over the last 2 weeks, it started to fade some. The numbers weren't good in his final few games before the break.
And you know, we actually saw that over so far since Bellinger has been called up. He obviously got off to an incredible hot start since being called up. But then there was kind of a lull. There was maybe about a week and a half where he was struggling. And then he made the adjustment and then came back out of there, got hot again, and right now we're seeing, okay, another couple of weeks where there's struggles, but that's baseball. You always hear it. It's a game of adjustments, and he's learning along the way.
So at 2 outs, runners at first and third. Here's Logan Forsythe. And while Bellinger tailed off in the final couple of weeks, Forsythe went in the other direction. You go back to mid-June, Forsythe hitting above 340. Straley's 0-1. Driven to center. Christian Yelich right in his tracks to end the inning. Some hard contact, but nothing to show for it. The Dodgers lead them at the corners against Straley. Brandon McCarthy takes it when you come back. For the first time against Brandon McCarthy. The roof closed here at Marlins Park. Here's their lineup. The former Dodger D. Gordon leads it off. Then is Giancarlo Stanton with Christian Yelich hitting third. Ozuna, the All-Star, bats cleanup. Justin Moore was in the home run derby, put on quite a show. He's the first baseman. The veteran Prado's at third. Real Muto does the catching, and JT Riddle is at short. Brandon McCarthy, Saturday against Kansas City, made his first start in 2 weeks and was back to his old self. Gave up just 1 earned run over 6 innings.
And you see the last time versus Miami, he went 6 innings, only allowing 1 earned run, and just 3 hits over those 6 innings. And that was back in May at Dodger Stadium.
Delivers ball 1 to D. Gordon. This was after spending some time on the disabled list. Flare up of the knee tendonitis, but also trying to rediscover his command with a small return of the yips or the thing or whatever you decide to call it. And it cropped up in a start on a Sunday afternoon against the Rockies, something that he dealt with last year. His 2-0 drops into the zone, strike one.
I think for McCarthy in his last start, especially coming off the DL after those command issues, as you mentioned, you're holding your breath to see, okay, will he be able to pound the strike zone? And he did. He looked really good in that last outing. He was able to have the command, pounded the zone, and also the movement of his pitches, his fastball, his breaking ball. He had some really good movement, something that he's had all year long up until that point.
Here's his 3-1. Gordon hits a fly ball to deep left center field. Peterson and Taylor back. Taylor makes the catch. Twisting his way and crashing into the wall for the first out. He opens the top of the inning with a base hit to left. He opens the bottom of the inning with his best defensive play of the year.
Not an easy play as the way this ball is tailing, hitting off the left-handed hitting D. Gordon. So he breaks toward the ball, and then he actually has to go back as it's tailing over his head, and to stay with it. Let's not forget, first time really being in the outfield was this year. Started off more in center, but has really gotten more comfortable out there in left. And the reason he likes center more, because he's used to being a shortstop, so you see the ball going in the zone and feel like you can react. On the corners, third base and say first base on the infield, it's different. You don't get to see the ball coming in.
Giancarlo Stanton fouls it off, 1-1.
And the same thing with the side out corner outfield. Don't get to see the ball coming in, so you don't get to read it as well or as much. And he stayed with that in an incredible way.
No score in the first. McCarthy home 1-1. Stanton dumps it back, and it's 1-2. You know, you had in his very first game, very first batter that he's playing center, Dexter Fowler crushes one to the wall. Taylor goes back, makes a leaping catch, with everybody wondering how's this going to go. Finish that series off by making a diving play coming forward, and has made the transition from center to left seamlessly as well. It's inside, and it's 2-2.
Well, now he's had more starts in left field than any other position. And coming into today, 20 starts in left, 19 at second, 3 at third, 2 at short, and 17 in center.
Stan waits on a breaking pitch, lines it to Taylor, and that one is difficult as well, with it knuckling the way it was off of Stanton's bat. 2 gone.
He'd probably tell you the one going over his head was a difficult play, but he'll tell you this one probably hurt his hand.
Right.
Because how hard that was hit.
And a couple of hard hit balls to start against Brandon McCarthy, who limits hard contact better than any pitcher in baseball so far this year. Base is empty, 2 gone. Christian Yelich looking at strike 1. Now, the reason the Marlins have played winning baseball over the last month and a half or so has been this offense. 6.5 runs per game here in July. It is the best mark in the National League. A lot of nice young pieces like Yelich. Jam shot, base hit to left. And so the softest contact of the inning produces the first hit.
Well, that's making an adjustment. That's recognizing the other guys have squared the ball up and made out. So maybe I use another part of the bat. Don't use the barrel. I mean, maybe go on the get jammed a little bit. And as we look at our Audi pitch cast, McCarthy made the pitch he wanted to. Sometimes you got to tip your hat. It's being able to put that ball in play by Yelich and find a hole.
So the inning kept alive for the All-Star Marcell Ozuna. Back-to-back years as an all-star. Leading baseball with those 70 RBIs this year. That tails inside, ball one. The full body of work for Marcell Ozuna when you include in the average at 316, the 23 home runs, and then the best RBI total in baseball. It's one of the best first halves in this franchise's history. On a 1-0 pitch, he pulls a bullet to left for a base hit. And so McCarthy not fooling anybody right now. 2 on with 2 out.
Now, we talked about Brandon McCarthy pounding the strike zone before he had those command issues 2 starts ago. But he was also pounding that zone on the corners. He didn't have balls tail over the middle of the plate. He had really good late movement on his pitches, from his sinker to his breaking ball slider. What we're seeing so far in this game is that some of his breaking balls are falling too far in the middle of the plate, with an exception of Yelich's ball, where he was able to fight that one off. But the ones that have been squared up so far have found the middle of the plate.
With 2 outs, it's Justin Bour. One of the 3 batters in this lineup with 20 home runs in the first half. And competed in the home run derby on Monday night. That's strike 1. How about you come out and hit 22 home runs in the first round and lose in that first round? Because Aaron Judge hit 23. The 0-1. Left over the plate. It was taken for a strike, 0-2.
And even if you look at that pitch right there, you saw where Yasmani Grandal wanted that pitch. He wanted that pitch to be up and in. Even if it was a ball, he would take it just to get off the zone. Watch where Yasmani sets up for this, and then where does it go? Right down the middle of the plate. McCarthy was fortunate that Bour did not swing at that pitch.
Chance to get out of this inning with no damage done. Bour crushes one foul. If he does, it'll feel like a huge victory, because the Marlins have tagged him in this first inning. Two on, 2 out. 0-2. Struck him out on an elevated fastball. So the Marlins hit a few balls really hard against McCarthy, but strand 2. We're off and rolling in this second half, and no score after 1. a Dodger fan facing the Dodgers in this one. Spent most of his childhood in Oregon, but his first few years lived in Redlands, and his first time to a big league ballpark was at Dodger Stadium when he was 2. First one to Jock Peterson, a fastball strike. Even after the family moved up to Oregon, when the Dodgers would go play the Mariners in interleague play, his family would always get tickets. Favorite player was Mike Piazza. Peterson turns around a fly ball to right field. Stanton's back on it at the wall. It's off the top of the wall. And Jock Peterson opens the inning with a double. It missed getting out of here by much.
Well, the Dodgers did a good job last inning. Chris Taylor leading off with a single, getting on base. Now the Dodgers get that leadoff double. These are the times you start that after the All-Star break, start the second half, and that was just barely inches.
Because the black wall there, that is a home run. That's behind the yellow. Not close.
When you start the second half, these are the times where you want to do the little things to kind of get your team going. Try to find a way to put something on the board.
It's ball 1 on Grandal, and if it's possible to nitpick when you're 61-29, that's one of the areas that Dave Roberts thought the Dodgers could have been a little bit better in, and that is situational hitting. Like in this case, trying to advance the runner to third. 1-1.
Yeah, even being able to get that productive out. Because the Dodgers have actually done a good job with 2-out RBIs. So when the guys 2 outs coming through, that obviously helps to have a record, helps to get that type of record. But this is the situation that he's really talking about, where finding a way to get that ball to the right side after a leadoff double.
On this 1-1 pitch, Grandal. It's a bouncing ball foul, and it's 1-2. We check in with Alana.
Joe, you guys were just talking about Dave Roberts saying that perhaps situational hitting, a room for improvement. He also said the biggest thing that he's looking for, because there aren't many holes to poke as far as this team is concerned in the first half, was just being able to sustain what they were able to accomplish over those first half games throughout the rest of the season. 72 games remaining, being able to sustain what they've been able to do over a very long season.
It's been a pretty incredible run. 26-4 over their last 30. Grandal pulls one. That's a base hit to right. That's an effective way to move the runner up. And again, the Dodgers at the corners, this time with nobody out.
And Jock Peterson couldn't score on that ball. He had to freeze to make sure that ball was going to get over the head of D. Gordon, because off the bat you could tell it wasn't necessarily squared up off the barrel. It wasn't hit really hard. So he wasn't sure if D. Gordon might have had a chance to come up with it. But that's what you're supposed to do. You play safe right now when there's no outs left. You're over there at third base with less than 2 outs. This is when you count on the hitters afterwards to be able to come through.
Dodgers at first and third, 1 out. Last inning couldn't score. First and third, nobody out in this case. And the 8-hitter Yasiel Puig. Has homered against Straley in his career. Yeah, gets ahead in the count with a high fastball. Strike 1. Takes the slider low, 2 balls and a strike, and that's something that he made big strides on in this first half.
I think him hitting in this ace spot has really helped them, because I think he's also come with the mindset of recognizing they may not throw me good pitches because the fact that the pitcher is hitting behind him in a lot of different situations. So you have a tendency to have that in your mind. So you're laying off some of those pitches. You're not really as aggressive. You're waiting for maybe when your spot to be attacked, and it's helped them.
That's on the ground to third, or actually on the fly, and caught. So Prado catches the line drive off of Puig's bat for the first out.
Just unlucky. Lucky for Yasiel, squared that ball up. That ball was hit hard. That was a rocket. There's just nothing you can do when you hit it right at somebody. That's what makes this game so hard. You can do everything right and still be an out.
Or you can hit it off the end of the bat like Justin Turner did and get a base hit.
And they don't all even out.
No, I know that's an old cliche that they do, but so McCarthy won't take a base hit here, but he will try to put it in play to help his own cause. Showed bunt, took a strike. Seen the Dodgers many times execute first and third situations, getting the runner caught between first and second, getting a run home. See if Dave Roberts is going to roll the dice on some kind of design play here. Stabbed at it, strike two. Bunts it foul, 2 out.
This is one where, back home people might be thinking, why does he still have him try to bunt in that situation? Well, as a manager, you're going, I don't want him to. There's a possible double play out there. You have a guy in scoring position. If he gets it down, great. I get 2 guys in scoring position. But I also don't want my pitcher to roll into a double play and not give Chris Taylor, who already has a single in this game in his first at bat, a chance to knock someone in.
Well, here he is, and it's up to him to take advantage of the first and third nobody out situation. Straley trying to pitch out of another jam and getting strike one on a sharp slider. The Dodgers already 4 hits against Straley, but nothing to show for it. Oh, another slider. Taylor offered, and it's 0-2. Of course, the argument there as a hitter is always, why can't you at least ask down to the base umpire?
It's always the argument. I think that should be automatic. Just ask. Just don't even assume, just ask.
Fastball up. They have the runner taken off. It hits off Gordon's glove. The throw to the plate is off of the glove of the catcher, Real Muto. And the Dodgers find a run here in the second. So they did put the play on. Grandal caught between first and second. The hope being that Peterson can score before Grandal gets tagged out. Better yet, they get a run and Grandal's safe.
Well, this is just fortunate for the Dodgers on the miscue. What's interesting about, as he threw that ball to second base, Jock was going back to third. Usually you're supposed to read that better and then take off to try to steal the run, but he was going back, and that's what also made it so close at home. I'll tell you, this is a Marlins defense that has been solid coming into today. Least amount of errors in the National League.
Taylor with his second base hit in as many innings. They're going to send Grandal. Ozuna's throw to the plate, perfectly done to get him. The inning comes to a close, but the Dodgers squeeze a run out of it to the bottom of the second, 1-0.
Yeah, we saw that in that very first inning with first and third, and they had somebody steal second and ended up scoring on some miscues by the Marlins. And then you have a base hit to left, but this is with 2 outs, and you know Yasmani Grandal doesn't have the greatest speed out there in the bases, but Chris Woodward going, okay, there's 2 outs. I have to take a chance because you assume it's going to have to be a perfect throw. Force them to make the perfect throw to get them out at home, and Ozuna did. He made the perfect throw, home play to get them out.
So the Dodgers, despite having 5 hits over the first 2 innings against Straley, have just 1 run to show for it. But do lead 1-0. Brandon McCarthy will get back at it, facing the bottom part of the order. 2 hits against McCarthy in that first inning. 4 balls hit very solidly. Able to escape without any damage. Here's a veteran, Martin Prado, to lead off the second. Old teammate of McCarthy's in Arizona. Now in his 12th year in the majors. And one of the guys that you're hearing about as a trade candidate for Miami, with the deadline only a couple weeks away now. That's a strike, 1-1. Tricky thing is the Marlins are about to be sold. Jeffrey Loria finally going to unload the team, and they expect the team to be sold within the next week or 2, but everything's kind of up in the air because who's calling the shots right now? 1-2.
No, that's definitely an issue for sure. They don't want to, and I'm sure Major League Baseball recognizes that's coming up, the sale, so they have some say in that. Not a lot, but have some.
Prado hits a base hit to center to open the second. MLB.com app bat is your #1 mobile app for live Dodger baseball. You can stay fully updated with a customizable experience. Get Dodger home screen icons and app features and plenty more. Download MLB.com app bat today. Because you don't know if a new ownership group is going to come in and clean house in the front office, the guys that are going to be making these decisions. You don't know if a new ownership group is going to want to inherit a team that no longer has a big ticket guy like Ozuna or even Stanton. You just don't know, and it's really hard on the people making the decisions right now.
Right, and also at the same time, ownership, if you're trading away some prospects or something that somebody they really liked or wanted to keep, and they're making those decisions prior to that, does that change it? So that's what I'm saying. Like Major League Baseball, they're not, doesn't mean that they get to control and have all the say, but they'll just, you know, make them aware and say, listen guys, for things as this is being negotiated and possibly a deal done, we have to take into consideration all these factors.
JT Realmuto hits a soft bounce to third. Turner's only play is at first. Bellinger's got it off a bounce for the first out. And we mentioned the Marlins have been pretty good the last couple months. 24-16 over their last 40 games. Only the Dodgers better in the National League, but there's still 10.5 back in the division. There's still 9 back in the wild card. So the chances of them making a push this year are slim to none. Runner at second with 1 out for JT Riddle. The rookie shortstop takes strike 1. And perhaps the shortstop of the future after the Marlins dealt Adeiny Hechavarria to Tampa Bay earlier this year. Hechavarria got hurt. That opened the door for Riddle to get the call up. Played well enough that when Hechavarria was ready to come back, Marlins decided to flip him. It fouled, and it's 0-2. Years old, played his college ball at Kentucky. That's where he's from originally. Frankfort, Kentucky. Prado at second with 1 out. 0-2. Protects a high fastball. We'll do it again.
Well, you got JT Riddle currently riding an 8-game hitting streak. He's not the only one on this team in a streak. The entire team, and over their last 8 games before that break, they were on an offensive tear, averaging over 6 runs a game. They'd had 10+ hits in all 8 of those games as well.
Yeah, the offense has not been the problem for him. Starting pitching is the reason that they still sit 5 games below 500 with this great offense. They knew that starting pitching was going to be an issue looking ahead when you go back to early last year, but then of course the tragic passing of Jose Fernandez. That's a strikeout swinging, and Riddle the second out of the inning. Injuries have been a problem. When you throw that on top of the fact that you're without your ace with his tragic passing, this has just kind of been a disaster for Don Mattingly's rotation.
And you see where you're talking about that starters, where they rank 28th in major leagues, and then you look just as a staff, including their relievers, where they have some really solid relievers in the bullpen. They actually bring that down to 20th in the major leagues as far as his entire staff.
Dan Straley on the first pitch from McCarthy smacks a bouncer to Forsythe, and the inning is over. McCarthy able to pitch around the leadoff single, and after 2, 1-0.
In Miami, and one of the best traveling fan bases in the country has made its way to South Beach. Pantone 294 is here, and who's that guy? Well, that's Justin Turner, of course, because of Pantone 294. Justin Turner won that final vote to get him into the All-Star game, and they had a yacht party today, and Justin Turner surprising some of the Pantone 294 faithful, saying hello to the guys, the passengers, as they came on to the ship. And of course, Pantone 294 is going to be here tomorrow at Marlins Park. July 15th is their day at the ballpark. Justin Turner certainly appreciative of all of the efforts of Pantone 294. They have been tremendous throughout the entire season, guys.
You know what they say, ain't no party like a Pantone 294 yacht party. Thanks for the footage from our backstage Dodger crew, always there. 2, 3, and 4 for the Dodgers coming up in this inning against Dan Straley. That's a strike on Corey Seager.
I think that just says so much about Justin Turner. We've been talking. We know Justin Turner because we're around the team so much.
Dribbled past the mound. Straley's got it. He will think about tagging him out and then throw him out. 1 out.
And we also touched on it with regards to the All-Star game and him getting that, being deserving to be in there first and foremost without the final vote, but also the outpouring of that final vote. And a lot of it is not just from what he's done on the field, but also just his character on and off the field. And I think once again he shows that, going over to the thanking them, because Pantone 294 did do a lot to try to get those final votes for that push in the All-Star break and All-Star game, and he truly appreciated it.
Southern California native who grew up in a family full of Dodger fans. Takes strike one. Went to Mayfair High School in Lakewood, and then of course stayed in Southern California for his college ball at Cal State Fullerton. A pop up into right center field. Ozuna. I make that Yelich making the catch for out number 2. So 2 up and 2 down against Dan Straley, who has been the best Marlins pitcher this year. We're talking about that rotation struggling, the injuries they've had to Wei Yin Chen and Edinson Volquez. Something that Straley's been able to give them, even before you look at the detailed numbers, is the fact that he's been there. He's posted, making every start for him. Strike one on Bellinger.
One thing about Straley, you see with that fastball, he doesn't light up the radar gun. Averages about 90 miles an hour with that fastball. But there is some deception to that fastball. A lot of hitters will say it seems like it's coming out of his right shoulder as compared to maybe you're trying to look above it, trying to find his arm slot. But it's a late delivery or late release out of that area of his shoulder. So at 90, you can't pick it up right away. Definitely seems a lot harder.
Yeah, you don't succeed in the majors with a 90-mile-per-hour fastball if you can see it well. 2-1. Or 3-1 on Bellinger.
And that's why, you know, you hear pitchers, they need command and movement on their pitchers to be successful.
Bellinger tugs a bouncer through for a base hit. A 2-out single for Cody Bellinger. Keeps this inning alive.
And Cody needed that. We talked about struggles the last couple of weeks coming into this game. Last couple of weeks hitting about 190. And then once the All-Star break happens, once you start the second half of the season, that first game almost not quite the same, but like that opening day as far as, okay, let me just get my first hit out of the way. Let me just get that first ground ball or that first play out of the way. And like, all right, now we're just back to normal. There's that first hit, Cody. Now you don't have to stress about anything. Have a good second half.
Brings up Forsythe. Squared one up his first time, lined out to center. Is there such thing as the All-Star break coming at a bad time for you?
There can be, I guess, because if you're just feeling just so locked in and you don't want to stop and you're just on an absolute tear. But at the same time, it does help when you are an All-Star from that, though, because there really doesn't feel like a break because of all the emotion and the adrenaline and the excitement. And then there's also the game and just all the things going on. There really isn't that break. So your body doesn't really feel like, OK, I felt that way, so I can just continue on.
So I'm thinking about Forsythe. You know, last few weeks was so good. Finally had gotten it going. He's ahead here 2-1. If the first debut was any indication, the few days off didn't hurt him. Drilled a ball off of the screws.
And really the key is, and you'll have teams now that they have that Thursday off as well, is whether they have a workout on that day at their home field. The Dodgers had an optional workout back at Dodger Stadium prior to leaving yesterday. But when you're actually feeling good or you had that hot streak, you go and you can't wait for that workout. You want to get that feeling back that you've been feeling prior to the break. And you usually, the good ones usually don't say, oh, I've been swinging the bat so well. It's optional. I'm going to exercise my option and not go. No,
you're there.
You're there.
Bellinger at first with 2 out. A 2-1. Forsythe cuts over it. Strike 2. Now with Forsythe, you knew it was just a matter of time. It's a guy that since becoming an everyday player a couple of years ago has done nothing but hit. He dealt with the injuries, first the broken toe and then the hamstring that he tweaked while he was rehabbing. And he wouldn't make the excuse, but did admit that those injuries maybe played a part in his slow start since coming back. It's a fastball foul and it stays at 2-2. But as he's gotten more consistent at bat since coming off and put together a healthy run, he's looked like the guy the Dodgers traded for. They've got Bellinger picked off. And Straley will tag him out to finish the inning. Forsythe to lead off the fourth for the Dodgers. They lead 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the third. Nothing, and we say welcome inside, Joe and Nomar. And I know the break's nice for everybody to recharge, but it's good to have baseball back, isn't it?
It really is, and especially for Dodger fans. I mean, looking at what the Dodgers have done in the first half with those 61 wins, the best record in Major League Baseball, they're looking forward to the second half and seeing if their Dodgers can continue that run.
Top of the order for the Marlins. Indy Gordon takes ball one. 61 and 29 overall, 6 wins in a row, 26 out of their last 30. That tails into the zone, and it's 1-1. You know, it's only the 8th 26-4 stretch in the last half century for any team. 8 times a team has gone 26-4 in the last 50 years. Last time that it happened was the Dodgers in 2013, and that is the only group to do this over the last 50 years that didn't go on to win 100 games. Yankees world champs in '98, Tigers world champs in '84. 3-1 on Gordon. Tailing fastball hit foul, and it's a full count. The Dodgers with a good chance to continue this run when you look at the schedule to open the second half. 30 of their first 36 games are against teams that currently have losing records. D. Gordon starting the third. With a bouncing ball to first that Bellinger takes to the back. 1 out. Stay after the game Saturday, July 22nd. Dodgers and Braves at 6:10. Catch a Dodger Vision showing of 42. A true story of an American legend courtesy of Fandango. Go to Dodgers.com/movies to learn more. So you get to stay after the game, and not only do you get to take in a Dodger game, but you get to watch a movie up on those giant boards. Speaking of giant, Giancarlo Stanton. Line to left his first time. Played in the National League with 26 home runs this year.
coming here right after the All-Star break and then watching the home run derby, then seeing this park, and then just kind of looking out to left field, seeing the windows and seeing how far some of the balls were landing during that home run derby. I'm looking up at the roof and I'm like, they hit the roof in this ballpark, and just amazing.
Stanton always has a green light here. McCarthy throws him a breaking ball, and it's 3-1. This park has been among the worst as far as home run hitters parks since it opened up, but boy, it didn't look like they're having any problems launching them here.
No, they during that home run derby, they made it look small.
Just misses, and a 1-out walk. First free pass issued by McCarthy. Brings up Christian Yelich. It's another one of those guys who, if there is such a thing as the All-Star break coming at the wrong time, he might have been one of those guys. 4 consecutive 2-hit games to finish the first half. One and oh. Southern California native out of Thousand Oaks, and then went to Westlake High School. Here's a 1-0. That's a strike. Yelich in his 5th big league year, 4th year that he's been a full-time player, and he's only 25. One and two. Had a huge year last year at 21 home runs, average right around 300. He's been better lately, but overall the numbers way down. Bellinger's got it. The second one, back to first for a double play. A hot shot that Bellinger's able to squeeze. They go 3-6-3, and the 3rd inning comes to a close. LA is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica, the new benchmark of minivans, and by Jack in the Box. Come try the new sweeter spicy barbecue bacon cheeseburger and chicken sandwich. Limited time only. 22 years ago now on this date, Ramon Martinez no-hit the Marlins. His was perfect into the 7th inning. The only blemish on that outing was a walk on a 3-2 pitch with 1 out in the 7th. Logan Forsythe leads off this inning against Dan Straley and takes ball 1. Martinez threw 114 pitches in that game, and they say that for the final 6 innings, nothing but fastballs. Somebody that you played with in Boston. That was kind of his personality, right? Didn't matter how good his stuff was, he was coming at you.
He was going to pound the strike zone, and he was going to work quickly. Believed in his stuff. Believed, like, if I had it that day, I had it. If I don't, I don't. But it's funny is I actually was just got to sit down and talk with Pedro Martinez a couple of days ago out in Los Angeles, and we were chatting.
That's a high fly ball to center. Playable for Yelich.
And I remember him, and I was talking to him about how when he was younger, he said he had a coach tell him, big game, all of a sudden being in a tournament, big game, he gives them the ball and he goes, okay, you're going to go after them today, but you're not allowed to throw a curveball the entire game. And so he had to learn how to pitch an entire game with his fastball. And he said what it taught him was that if I can have command of my fastball up and in, if I can have command of fastball down and in, up and away, down and away, that's 4 pitches I actually have. I don't just have a fastball. I have 4 pitches I can use.
Here's Jacques Peterson.
And also knowing that, okay, there's also BP fastball I can throw that's just slightly off to get him off there. So he just learned, and he said, when I go out there with so it taught him in the big leagues that I may not have my curveball that day, I may not have my changeup.
Another high fly ball, and Stanton will settle under this one. 2 up and 2 down.
And he said, some of those pitches may not be working for me that day, but I always felt I can always have my fastball. Or I know that if I have command maybe on one side of the plate at least, and I have command say up and down in the zone on one side, I have 2 fastballs I can use. So that was really his mentality, and I'm sure Ramon felt the same way. So him throwing nothing but fastballs, but how many were at different parts of the plate? So for him, he said, oh, I had 4 fastballs working during that no-hitter, or 5, whatever it may be.
Ball 1 on Grandal. And it's funny you bring up Pedro, but a month before Ramon's no-hitter, Pedro had a perfect game through 9 innings, but wound up losing 1-0 because they didn't get him any runs of support when he was pitching for the Expos. This was a game against the Padres. Took a perfect game into the 10th and gave up a leadoff double and lost the game 1-0. And Ramon admitted that he couldn't stop thinking about that as he was carrying the perfect game into the 7th inning. At third, Prado has room, and the Dodgers go quietly in the 4th. Out of the bottom half in a 1-0 game. The 1996 Rookie of the Year for the Dodgers. He is now the television analyst for the Marlins. And reason we're showing you him, his very first career start in the major leagues was this date, 22 years ago. Ramon Martinez no-hitter. And Hollingsworth had one of the key defensive plays in that game. With a perfect game still going, had a long run and a ball that was really well hit. And was able to run it down, preserve the no-hitter in the perfect game for a little while longer. But can you believe that? Your first career start in the majors, the guy on the mound throws a no-hitter.
And the fact that up until that point, like you mentioned, when he had to make that run for that catch, that it was a perfect game.
Yeah. Here's Marcell Ozuna hacking the first pitch foul.
Because the no-hitter, your range as a playing defense expands. You're like, I have to make every play for him. You know there's a no-hitter. But when there's a perfect game going on, it's like, okay, I got to make every play, and I can't screw up as well. So, and you're a rookie. You're already feeling all the adrenaline and nerves anyway, and then you put that on top of it.
0-2, and he said, yeah, I mean, you go into that your very first game as a starter in the majors, so he had the nerves and the wide eyes, and then you, like you mentioned, you throw that on top of it. Said it was like a dream for him on that very first day. Roman center field at Dodger Stadium. Watching Ramon Martinez in front of him. No hit. These Marlins. 0-2. A crackbat bouncer that comes up on Turner. He somehow makes the play and gets him. At this point, you're not surprised, are you?
I was surprised just at that hop. I mean, you heard me go, whoa, as we take a look at the Morongo Casino and Spa slow-mo cab. Oh, that just came up on Justin Turner. How he stayed with it. That was more just protect my face and don't kill me. And glad it stayed in the glove. He was watching that ball the whole way. He had a beat on it, and then it took a hop. And glad he came up with it, and that most important, that he is okay.
And he continues to give us reasons to beat the Justin Turner for MVP drum. Justin Bour goes after the first pitch, a sky-high pop that will reach the seats. I mean, you're talking about a guy who is now hitting above 380. He's playing Gold Glove caliber defense. The power's come back. 9 home runs over the last month plus. I don't like seeing him grimacing right now. But he's doing all that for the best team in baseball. Bour again climbs the ladder. This one in play. Chris Taylor a long way to go, but he's there. 2 out. Tomorrow, Spectrum Sportsnet live from Las Vegas for the NBA Summer League Tournament. Lonzo Ball has put on quite a show so far. He and the Lakers take on the Nets in the quarterfinals with coverage starting at 6:30 with Access Sportsnet Lakers, followed by Lakers and Nets at 7 on Spectrum Sportsnet. Two outs, and here's Prado. I hope there was nothing to that, but I'm sure you saw the same thing there. Justin Turner kind of wincing.
Yeah, and he keeps kind of touching his right side under, like almost his rib area under his armpit. So I don't know, maybe as a reaction to that ball or that came up on him, if he might have felt something on that right side.
McCarthy looking for his first 1-2-3 inning. Prado trying to make sure that doesn't happen with a long drive to left center field that one hops the wall. A 2-out double for Martin Prado, and the Marlins have the tying run in scoring position.
Well, once again, this ball finding the middle of the plate. You can see where Yasmani wanted the pitch, breaking ball down and away, and it goes on the inner half of the strike zone, and Martin Prado does a good job staying on that ball and driving it to left center.
So JT Realmuto has a chance here to tie the game in the 4th. Well, the mini Marlins coming in hot, or at least finishing the first half hot. 440 over a 7-game hitting streak. Take strike 1. Had the National League taken 3 catchers on the All-Star team, it would have been, you figure, either Yasmani Grandal or this guy. One of the best young players you don't hear much about. That one's inside, and it's 1-1. It's in his 3rd full season now, only 26 years old. Tremendous athlete. On this 1-1, he hits a bouncing ball through that will tie this game. Back-to-back 2-out hits for the Marlins, and it's 1-1 as Realmuto drives home Prado.
Well, once again, you see where Yasmani is lined up for this pitch, wanting this ball down and in, and he was reaching for the ball because Brandon McCarthy once again missed his spot. He touched on it, and Brandon right now has only given up 1 run, but someone has been effectively wild. What I mean is they've been wild in a sense where the ball is finding the middle of the plate, as far as hasn't hit his spots on the corners, but he's only given up 1 run because a lot of them have fallen over the middle of the plate. He's had some balls hit hard on them. That one once again was right there over the middle of the plate, missed his own, single up the middle.
What would you say? More than half of the balls put in play have been hard hit tonight?
Yeah, about right. There's been about half to a little bit, slightly over more than half.
The reason I bring that up is because on the season, only 1/5 of the balls put in play against McCarthy have qualified as hard hit. That's the lowest hard hit rate in baseball. This has been very uncharacteristic of him to give up so many solidly struck balls tonight. One on with 2 out. JT Riddle takes ball 1.
And over the course of this game, we've really seen Yasmani Grandal have to work back there, where he's lining up one place and he's reaching for the ball in another part of the strike zone. Whether it's the breaking ball or the fastball, it's really been all of the pitches.
Here's a 2-0. That's strike 1. He seemed to have his best command of that breaking ball.
Yeah, I mean, that pitch right there was his best pitch, but we've still seen that breaking ball kind of fall over the middle of the plate, because that was the ball that Martin Prado ended up hitting. And Martin Prado, he wanted that breaking ball down and away, and it ended up breaking down and in.
Only the 2nd time he's pitched in this ballpark in his career, and actually the first time that he pitched here, a complete game shutout. This is when he was with Arizona, 2013. Got in on him with a cutter, and it's 2-2. 12th major league season now for Brandon McCarthy with his 6th different team, and he hopes it'll be the first team that he experiences October with. 12 years, but 0 postseason games. Here he comes with a 2-2. Runner takes off and a foul ball. Not running this time, and Riddle able to lay off the high fastball. He will be running on this next one. The full count and 2 gone. Dodgers a run in the second. Marlins a run here in the 4th. And a big bouncer to second. Forsythe across his body to get him on a nice play to end the 4th. Well, the Marlins with a pair of 2-out hits to tie the game as we march along to the 5th. Sportsnet LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Get the Toyota truck of your dreams at Toyota's Summer Drive Sales Event. Top 5 tied at 1 with a sunset here in Miami, opening the second half of the season. And Dan Straley holding the Dodgers to a run through 4. This is a guy, you go back to 2013, he was top 5 in Rookie of the Year voting with the Oakland A's. And a couple of really good years to start his career, but then started dealing with some shoulder soreness, some shoulder weakness. Only made 11 starts in the majors between 2014 and 15. But like we talked about off of the top, from the All-Star break last year when he was with Cincinnati to now, only Max Scherzer has more wins. 8-9-1 coming up against him here in the 5th. It's Yasiel Puig turning around this pitch. High drive to left to break the tie. A no-doubt shot from Yasiel Puig. His 17th of the year, and it's 2-1. Looked like one of the balls from the home run derby Monday.
Joe, you talked about he has a home run off of Straley, and this was just a hanging curveball that he stays on it and does not miss. He gets all of that. Did an excellent job staying back on the ball, recognizing the pitch right out of his hand. And that was a no-doubter.
Back in Miami, where he makes his home during the offseason. McCarthy fouls it off, and it's 1-1. And with his 17 home runs, Puig is now within 2 of his career high.
Oh, center cut right in the middle of the plate. That's what you're supposed to do with those types of pitches. Those that miss right down the middle. Wow.
Against Dan Straley, who somehow has had success with the highest fly ball rate in the National League. Count goes full on McCarthy. Most of the fly balls, though, are hit softly. That one was not. McCarthy with a bullet, caught at third by Prado. So back to the top with Chris Taylor coming up. Dodgers in front 2-1. Started diving into the career roller coaster that Dan Straley's had before Puig took him on a ride. He's with his 6th organization over the last 3 years. And that included a stretch last spring where he was with 3 teams in a 5-day span. That's strike one on Chris Taylor. Yeah, 3 teams in a 5-day span. So he spent spring training with Houston, traded to San Diego at the end of spring training. 3 days after that, released and claimed by Cincinnati. But even before that, the A's traded him in the Jeff Samardzija, Addison Russell deal. Cubs traded him for Dexter Fowler. Bounced from team to team to team, dealing with those shoulder problems, trying to figure himself out after he broke onto the scene with such a good rookie year. And finally did figure it all out. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Taylor. Gives a lot of credit to what he did in the offseason prior to last year. Went up to a place called Driveline Baseball in Seattle and totally revamped the way that he works out. They analyzed his delivery, went into a biomechanics lab, then used all the TrackMan StatCast data to help identify what might be causing the shoulder problems, what might be causing the breaking ball to not be very good. Taylor takes it high and the count is full. Added in more weightlifting, incorporated weighted ball programs. You see so many guys doing that these days. Totally changed his throwing program. Shoulder strength came back and he took off. Taylor pulls one to third. Prado's got this one too.
And what they found too was, we talked about the shoulder issues where there was really nothing as far as damage issues in the shoulder. It was more that it was just fatiguing quickly, or wasn't as strong, and they recognized that, so that's where they incorporated a special program for him to strengthen it, and how he's just found the results. And they also found out that what they really liked was he put less stress on other parts of his body too, such as the elbow, which a lot of concerns for pitchers and the issues that they have from the way he was throwing in his mechanics. So it's really paid off dividends for him.
Corey Seager takes ball 2. Marlins acquired him in a trade this offseason, and they say publicly that Straley's not available with the deadline approaching. Although you can think of a lot of teams that wouldn't mind strengthening the back end of the rotation with a guy like this. There's 2-1. At the knees, strike 2.
The way you were talking about his history, he's been traded before, so it wouldn't be a shock. So it's been moved around.
Mentioned it right off the top tonight, but a new dad. Jackson Daniel Straley was born on Sunday. Seager pokes it foul, and we'll do the 2-2 again. So with this great run he's had this last year and this last month especially, I'm sure if you asked him the best thing to happen, came on an off day.
You're like, how was your all-star break? Best break ever.
That was 2 days after one of the best starts of his career. 8 1/3 at San Francisco. Didn't give up a run until the 9th inning. Denard Span homered against him with 1 out in the 9th. And Tom Mattingly came and took him out, but still got a win. Best Marlins starter from the start this year. Seager making him work. And pulling a fly ball to deep right field. Corey Seager joins Puig in taking Straley deep. On the 9th pitch of the at-bat, he crushes a home run to make it 3-1.
And like Puig takes advantage of the breaking ball, the ball just kind of spun up there, stays on it, was out front just a hair, but did a good job still keeping the weight back, barreling that ball up, and that too was a no-doubter. Stanton in right field didn't even move.
No, you're right. That's strike one on Turner.
He just, I'm not going to move. I'm not even going to turn. It's far.
Now Turner to center, but got this one off the end of the bat some, and Yelich will put it away to finish the fifth. We are halfway home. The Dodgers with a pair of home runs to break the tie. Puig and Seager both go deep, and the Dodgers with a 3-1 lead. '43-year-old Ichiro to pinch hit to lead off the bottom of the fifth inning with the Dodgers in front 3-1. And McCarthy hits him. So the leadoff man on here in the fifth is, that thing clubs him squarely.
We heard two things all the way up here in the booth. One, Ichiro going, oh, trying to get out of the way. And two, the ball actually hitting him in the leg. I mean, it's hit him square.
'30th member of the 3,000 hit club. Third oldest to do it. Got there at 42. So he's aboard to start the inning. And Dan Straley's night is officially over. Back to the top. Here's D. Gordon. Lays a bunt down. Grandal will go to second to get one. No chance to get the speedster Gordon. But that gets Ichiro off his feet. Gordon on with one out. You know, Ichiro is known for his maniacal pregame routine, pregame stretching, same routine that he carried over from Japan, and that a lot of people early on looked at and kind of rolled their eyes and said, what is the guy doing? But for his entire 17-year career, he's kept it the same. Even now, when he's only started a handful of games this year, he prepares the same exact way every single day with these long, extensive stretching routines, these mobility routines. And he does it all for one at bat most nights. Here's Stanton. Fly to right center field. That will fall in the gap. Puig tries to barehand it. His jungle will allow the runner to come home. RBI double for Stanton, and it's 3-2.
CL tries to barehand this ball because he knows D. Gordon is on first base and trying to get it in as quickly as possible to try to keep D. Gordon from scoring, but ends up bobbling it, and D. Gordon wasn't slowing down at all.
So Stanton drives in a run, and just like that, the Marlins have the tying run in scoring position again. And the three-hitter Christian Yelich looks at strike one, but McCarthy continues to miss his spots.
And even that one, Yasmani wanted that ball in the inner part of the plate. It goes over the, he had to reach and still got the call. It was a strike, but it was over the middle of the plate.
Off of Grandal's glove. It ricochets back to him and gives him a chance, but Stanton's in there safely. The big deal with just one out.
It's weird how Yasmani just missed it.
Saw that a couple times on Saturday in McCarthy's last start. Infield comes in for the Dodgers with a tying run now 90 feet away. McCarthy's 1-1. Nice pitch, 1-2. Only 2 strikeouts today for McCarthy. A third would be big here. We're standing third and 1 out. Here's the 1-2. Missed, but got him. Grandal wanted that fastball up. It was low and away, but Yelich swung over it, and a big second out. Will take it. Not out of the woods yet. Ozuna, who leads the majors in RBIs. '26-year-old having a career year for Miami, and a hanging breaking pitch is pulled on the ground foul. Strike one. Playing with fire right now.
I was talking about earlier how McCarthy been kind of effectively wild, where there's occasion we see where he ends up hitting his spots and the command is right there with his pitch, and then we've seen where he has missed and missed consistently. You've seen that at bat Yelich, he missed but got away with it, and there he missed, got away with that one just going foul. Nice stop by Grandal.
And with a guy like Ozuna, rarely do you get away with that. And hardly ever do you get away with doing it twice in one at bat. McCarthy trying to lock in here with a tying run at third and 2 gone in the 5th inning. Here comes the 1-1. Tails inside, 2 balls and a strike. Three and 1. First base open. It's up to McCarthy if he'd rather see Ozuna or Bohr. Both plenty capable, both at least 20 home runs this year. Not an easy lineup to go through. A 3-1. Ball 4. Saw the second McCarthy walk. Dave Roberts making his way out of the field. Ross Stripling is loosening. So it doesn't look like a slam dunk that Roberts will take him out. Stripling's been warming for a couple of minutes down there. McCarthy's going to have a shot here against Bohr.
Well, we just talked about Ozuna with his power. Now you can't make a mistake, and he got away with one and ended up fouling it off. Well, here's another guy you don't want to make a mistake to.
How about the defense on the right side for the Dodgers? Logan Forsythe, the second baseman, plays in medium deep right field, with Seager on the right side of the infield as well. That is strike one. Now, McCarthy made a mistake to Bohr his first time up, and he hit it about 400 feet but fouled down the right field line. First and third with two gone in a one-run game. Ball one. Grandal wants it low and away. Good pitch. Fouled off 1-2. That time he was spot on. On a night where he doesn't have his best stuff, trying to dig deep and keep the Dodgers in front at 3-2. Saw Dodgers get their first run of the night in this same situation with runners at the corners and two out, putting the runners in motion. The 1-2. Now a 2-2. Base hit to left center. This might put Miami in front. Bohr with a double to the wall, and Miami's taken a 4-3 lead.
Well, they go away. That's where Yasmani wanted the ball. McCarthy actually does hit his spot here, just keeping that fastball away. But Bohr did an excellent job staying on that ball. Big man like that, who has a lot of power, probably thinking, or you would think as he's coming up, he's thinking about pulling the ball, trying to drive the ball out of the ballpark, then gets two strikes and just puts that ball in play, goes the other way, staying on it, gets rewarded.
So McCarthy unable to finish 5, and the Marlins have taken their first lead of the night. Here comes Ross Stripling. 4, over 4 2/3. The runner at second, his responsibility as well.
For Brandon McCarthy, really just didn't have his command throughout this entire game. Looking where Yasmani wanting that ball on the outer half, goes over the middle of the plate, base hit. Once again, a ball wanting that way in, doesn't get it there. Now here's a breaking ball where it goes down, wanted it away, down over the middle of the plate, ball up, wanting that ball down and in. So it was fastball, his breaking ball. Really all of his pitches didn't quite have the command that he wanted today, and the Marlin hitters have made him pay.
Bohr at second with 2 out. Ross Stripling, the new Dodger pitcher, to face Martin Prado. And a fastball right there for strike 1. Who's in, who's out, brought to you by In and Out. Stripling came back up from the minors, made his first appearance since coming back on July 8th, and pitched a perfect relief inning after he'd really struggled in his final few outings before his demotion in late June. Ball and a strike. Prado 2 of the 7 hits against McCarthy tonight. So 1-1 to him. Off the end of the bat, Stripling comes on and retires the first man that he sees. Well, the Marlins with a 3 spot in the 5th and their first lead of the night as we go to the 6th.
Now at the head of that bench over there for the Miami Marlins, and certainly Donnie Baseball not the only connection between the Dodgers and the Marlins. Of course, Dee Gordon there as well. LA connection, former Dodgers in the Miami organization, quite a few. We just talked about Don Mattingly. Lorenzo Bundy was one of our base coaches here in LA, now over there as a coach as well. Tim Wallach, Dee Gordon, and AJ Ellis. And guys, I had an opportunity to talk to AJ earlier today, and he said, you know, it's been a bit of a different atmosphere for me over here. He said it's been pretty good for me though to be able to continue to teach these young players. He said I really wish some of these young guys like the Christian Yelich and Giancarlo Stanton and so on and so forth were around a team like the Dodgers organization, just a team that obviously is doing very well and winning. He said very young talent over here, and he's enjoying his time over here, but certainly misses some of the folks on our side too.
All right, Alana, here's Junichi Tozawa coming into the game, replacing Dan Straley, trying to protect this newfound lead at 4-3. Open the 6th. Middle part of the Dodger order. Cody Bellinger to lead it off. And Tozawa's first pitch to him is a breaking ball outside, 1-0. There are another couple former Dodgers that are on the DL currently for Miami. Edinson Volquez, Miguel Rojas. 8 former Dodgers in total in the Marlins traveling party when you include Todd Hollandsworth in that group. Fastball makes it 2-0. There's another 7 Marlins that have Southern California roots. Giancarlo Stanton, one of those guys. We talked about Christian Yelich earlier. He's a Southern California native. A 2-0. Foul, and it's 2-1. Junichi Tazawa, first year in Miami, and it's part of an attempt this offseason by the Marlins to really fortify the bullpen, try to work backwards. They knew the rotation was going to be an issue, but Tazawa's had by far his worst year. Bellinger had one to hit and fouled it off. 2-2. Really good years in Boston for Tazawa. Won a world championship a few years back. Above average reliever each of his first 7 major league years. It's 2-2 to Cody Bellinger. Got him swinging. So 1 away here in the 6th, and tonight on an all-new Backstage Dodgers go behind the scenes of the record-breaking rally to get Justin Turner his first All-Star spot. And Cody Bellinger prepares for the Midsummer Classic. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers presented by Hankook Tire after the postgame tonight on Sportsnet LA. That was something. The way that the fan base rallied around Justin Turner, everything Pantone 294 did. One of the memorable parts of this memorable year so far. Logan Forsythe hits it off of Tazawa, who recovers. 2 out. And a few of those tonight.
Logan Forsythe unlucky. 0 for 3 so far in this game, but easily could be at least 2 for 3. Lined out to center field in his very first at bat. Then that one right back at the pitcher. That's one where you come in, you're frustrated as a hitter. Your hitting coach says, listen, don't change a thing. Stay right there. They will fall.
He has plenty of practice utilizing that patience with the slide that he went through early this year. Base is empty, 2 gone. Here's Jock Peterson. Slashes a liner, caught it short. Another hard hit ball that's fielded by the Marlins. 1-2-3 go the Dodgers in the 6th. Three lead to the bottom of the 6th inning, and we take a look at the Cardinals cam. Back to the home run derby on Monday night. The Kenley cam. Kenley Jansen was using some of the Backstage Dodger equipment to Taking the sights and sounds from his perspective. What do you think of his camera work?
So far, so good. I'm impressed. He got unique perspective that cameras aren't probably allowed in certain places, that he was able to bring that in there, especially into the clubhouse, because, you know, the guys who do backstage are unbelievable, tremendous, and the Dodgers give them access as well. But at the All-Star game, they couldn't quite get that access.
No. So the Marlins in front, and Ross Stripling to work against the bottom third of the order. JT Realmuto to start this inning. That's strike one, down to Alana.
Before the All-Star game on Tuesday, Kenley Jansen told Chris Rose and Kevin Millar of Intentional Talk that he already knows that that's going to be his post-pitching career, working behind the lens and helping the backstage Dodgers crew. And Cody Bellinger also told me that one of his favorite parts of the home run derby is Kenley Jansen lying on the ground trying to get that perfect.
Oh,
whew.
You all right?
I'm all right.
George, all right?
A little scary over here. Lombard's good. We're all good over here.
We can chuckle because everyone's okay.
Maybe that'll make Kenley rethink his post-playing career job down there in the camera well. It's not so safe, not so easy.
It's not the safest place in the ballpark, I can tell you that much.
George says, straighten it out. Coming upstairs with an 0-2. 1-2. This is right from Alana's view. Uh-oh. Smiles because, like you said, everybody got out of the way of it. Now 1-2 pitch, and Realmuto hits it foul. Marlins trying to make it 6 wins out of their last 7 games. The deficit's right now huge, though. 10.5 in the division behind Washington. 9 full games in the wild card behind the Rockies. Almost definitely will be in sell mode. Seven consecutive losing seasons they've had here. It'll take some kind of run to snap that streak. Fastball blown by him, strike 3. And so Stripling has retired the first 2 that he's faced. 1 gone here in the bottom of the 6th. Ross spent his All-Star break right in LA with his fiancee Shelby. It's a beach time, and both made their first trip to Disney ever.
That's one thing about LA. People going, what are you going to do the break? I'm going to stay right here.
Right.
Go to the beach, go to Disneyland. So many options.
Strike 1 on JT Riddle. How many guys in their mid-20s have never been to Disney?
Wow. I mean, well, I can't. It doesn't surprise me because I'm just going. I'm from LA, so you assume being
part
from
of
LA,
what you did.
but
yeah.
he's not from there, so
yeah. I didn't go until a year or 2 ago, so
it's not surprising.
Yeah. Oh, and 2. Guy that he's facing here in JT Riddle. He went home to Frankfort, Kentucky for his All-Star break and put out an open invitation on Facebook that he was going to hold a workout at the local high school field, and had dozens of people show up to watch him. Hometown hero. Went around, and Stripling with back-to-back Ks to open the 6th.
Well, come to the Dodger game on Wednesday, July 26th, when the Dodgers play host to the Twins at 7:10. The first 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a Clayton Kershaw bobblehead, courtesy of Pirelli Tire. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
We'll let the picture there tell the story. The copy didn't tell us that it's a Clayton Kershaw hitting bobblehead.
Hitting bobblehead. Because he's known for his hitting.
I think it's because there have been a few pitching Kershaw
gotcha.
bobbleheads. He's a scrapper. Come on. Tyler Moore pinch hitting here and taking ball one.
We know Kenley Jansen's known for his hitting.
He is. Can't get him out.
Nope.
He 2 for 2 at this point?
I think he is. I think he does have 2 hits and 2 at bats.
Infield single and a double. Moore grounds one past Turner at third. Into foul ground it goes. Taylor picks it up. Throw to second, not in time. And a pinch hit double for Tyler Moore.
Tyler Moore puts on a good swing where the breaking ball falls over the middle of the plate. And it was a great effort out there at third base by Justin Turner. He's upset with himself, believing he should have came up with that ball, but if he comes up with it, that is just an unbelievable play. Definitely a base hit.
Gives D. Gordon a chance here with 2 outs. Miami trying to add on to this 4-3 lead. They took with a 3-run 5th. That's inside, ball one. Kenley Jansen, just to confirm, 2 for 4 this year.
I don't remember him getting out. That's the impression he's left on us.
That's right. When a guy's that good.
Yes.
Silver slugger.
I also didn't know he had 4 at-bats.
No, I'm trying to think of the other 2.
Right.
1-1. Well, I'm guessing when a reliever makes an out, it's usually not that memorable. So that would, you know, those 2 outs would quickly fade from one's memory. Stripling's gotten involved in the offense. He scored a winning run earlier this year as a pinch runner in extra innings. With Moore at second and 2 out, here's a 1-1 to D. Gordon. Punch to third. Turner's got it. And the inning is over. 2-out double, but no damage. On to the late innings in Miami. The Dodgers down by a run. Dodger calendar brought to you by 76. They open the second half with this road trip, 3 through Miami, an off day in Chicago Monday, and then 2 games with the White Sox, one of the worst teams in baseball so far, and just recently traded Jose Quintana away to the Cubs in the big news of the All-Star break. Mentioned it earlier, 30 of the first 36 games for the Dodgers in the second half come against teams with losing records. Here's Kyle Bearclaw, the latest out of the Marlins bullpen.
Let's see the opponent's batting average against down there at the bottom at a 235. Bearclaw comes at you, just throwing. He's got a hard fastball. He averages 95 miles an hour. He's the 3 guys in that Marlins bullpen that come in at average over 95 miles an hour on their fastball.
Bottom part of the Dodger order, Yasmani Grandal to lead off. Dodgers 1 swing from tying this thing, and that's ball 1. Grandal 1 for 2 tonight. Hit down the left field line. It's peeling foul, and it's 1-1. Bullpen's been pretty good for Miami. It's been the starting pitching that has spelled their doom. 3rd worst starting rotation in the majors, but the bullpen middle of the pack. To the back door, strike 2. Brandon Morrow getting ready in the Dodger bullpen. Ross Stripling with a scoreless 1 1/3. Here's the 1-2. Grandal foul tips it for strike 3. Here comes Yasiel Puig, and we look back on our top tier play of the game brought to you by Arco. He broke a 1-1 tie on the first pitch of the 5th with his 17th home run of the year.
And as a fan, you can just, right when he just hits it, just watch Puig's reaction. You know, okay, he got all of that.
Yeah, that'll tell you.
Yep. It wasn't, oh, did he get all of it? Did he just miss it? No. Yep. He's admiring how far that went.
You're taught as broadcasters to watch the fielders to tell you where the balls hit, but yeah, it's more fun as a fan. Watch the trot or lack thereof. 1 ball and 1 strike. Bouncing ball. D. Gordon with a diving stop and throws him out. What a play by D. Gordon for out number 2.
D. Gordon just showing off the range and sacrificing the body. I mean, he is outstretched as far as you can go to stay with it. And Yasiel stares at him right when he crosses first base like, you just robbed me of a hit. What are you doing?
Gold Glove winner in his first year here in Miami after the Dodgers traded him over. Here comes Kike Hernandez. Pinch hitting with 2 gone here in the 7th. Strike 1. And Kike was part of that trade that brought D. Gordon here to Miami. Austin Barnes, Chris Hatcher also involved in that deal. Quickly 0-2. Andrew Heaney was as well. The Dodgers flipped him for Howie Kendrick. Bearclaw looking for a 1-2-3 7th. Ball 1. 2-2. PK hoping to open the second half better than he finished the first. 2 for 24 over the last week or so going into the break. On this 2-2, he strikes out swinging. Fairclough retires the Dodgers in order in the 7th, and we stretch in a 4-3 game. Unlimited baseball break is brought to you by T-Mobile. Mentioned it earlier. Jose Quintana traded by the White Sox across Chicago to the Cubs for 4 minor leaguers in that White Sox system. Now the best in baseball. What do you think of this deal?
Listen, I think this is one of those that kind of get things going, you know, where other teams are going, all right, there's moves being made, because everybody always wonders about that trade deadline. And it's like almost even in the offseason, like where's that first move or where's that first free agent going to be signed? So, but I think for the Cubs, you know, obviously they make moves that they're always trying to improve their team. So I think it makes sense for them.
Have him under control for another year, so it's not just a rental. Brandon Morrow comes in for the Dodgers in a 4-3 game here in the 7th. And they lose Jake Arrieta. At least his contract is up after this year. There are big questions about the pitching staff for next year. And so the Cubs thinking longer version of the short term and making that deal. Tough part of the order for Morrow here. Giancarlo Stanton to lead off this 7th. Starts him with a slider, ball 1. Stanton tonight 1 for 2, lined down in the first, walked in the 3rd, and then doubled home a run and scored in the 5th. That is only the 15th trade between the Cubs and the White Sox all time, and only a few of them have involved noteworthy players. Perhaps the most noteworthy would be Sammy Sosa getting traded from the White Sox to the Cubs in the early 90s. A 2-0 and a pop-up. Bellinger, 1 out. Heard some arguments that it would have been hard for White Sox fans to stomach that trade had the Cubs not won the World Series last year, and you felt like you were maybe aiding them in breaking the curse. But now that the Cubs have won one, it's like, you know, what's the big deal if they happen to win another based on this trade? And you know, that's speaking very highly of the trade, but from a worst case scenario White Sox perspective, they can probably live with themselves having dealt him away, since that curse has been broken already.
And they're also looking to see if they could foster their minor league system and get those minor leaguers as well, as they're kind of a little bit in transition to build up a club.
Very much so. Here's Christian Yelich. Bouncing ball foul, and it's 0-1. The Chris Sale trade brought back big returns. Adam Eaton getting traded to the Nationals. Big returns in that one as well. They've gone from having a barren farm system to the best in baseball. 8 of the top 100 prospects belong to the White Sox now. But prospects are just that. Prospects. 1-1.
Just like the Dodgers have a lot of prospects as well. We've seen some of the impact that they've made already on this ball club, but at the same time, it's good to have them too, as if they may need to make a push or want to make some adjustments come trade deadline. So regardless of that title, prospects, there's advantages to having numerous prospects or looked at that way in your farm system, so you can make the maneuvers that you see fit.
One-run game in the 7th. Morrow pitches 2-1. Strike 2, blowing it by him at 98. And of course, as fans, you always want your team to make a splash at the deadline and bolster their roster. But front offices always try to balance that short-term excitement with the long-term picture. You know, a couple years back, any big deal was going to have to include Corey Seager. Can you imagine if they had done that deal? A year ago, any really big deal was probably going to have to include Cody Bellinger. Can you imagine if they had pulled that deal?
Now there's rumblings in the media talking about next trades the Dodgers might make, and they look at certain minor league guys that, you know, and this is all speculation, media going, well, there's maybe some guys that might be untouchable, but at the same time, there's going to be interest in guys like Alex Verdugo, Buehler, Calhoun.
Here comes another payoff. Morrow with a beautiful pitch, cutting in to get Yelich for out number 2. And the fact is, this team is on a 109, 110 win pace. So of course, you always want to fine-tune and bolster heading into the trade deadline, but there's not a whole lot of areas that are screaming for attention.
No, that's right. And that's why people have been asking Andrew Friedman, Farhan. They're like, listen, we feel like we're okay right now. Not to say that we're not going to listen to everything and still try to improve our team, but it's not one where they're just going to make a trade just to make a trade.
Marcell Ozuna laid on a fastball.
So they're just looking at spots too that they see fit. And you can read articles, you can read media. People might say, well, maybe somebody in the bullpen, maybe another left-hander in the bullpen. Maybe if there's a starter available, but maybe just to add more depth to that. You're looking at possibly position players, another at bat, a right-handed bat, especially with Franklin Gutierrez being on the DL. They were looking at him possibly being that right-hander, filling in the outfield and possibly coming off the bench. So, but do you necessarily feel, oh, they're must needs? Not necessarily, but things to possibly look at.
Brandon Morrow throwing the heck out of the ball here in the 7th and carving right through the heart of this Marlins lineup.
Hernandez and Turner Ward talking about something, perhaps that strikeout in the 7th inning and the pinch hit situation. However, Kike did not strike out off the field. Time now for our performance spotlight, brought to you by Land Rover. Congratulations are in order for Kike Hernandez and Mariana Vicente at the Post Ranch Inn in California a couple of days ago. These two got engaged, and Kike said he has had this ring, you guys, since prior to the World Baseball Classic. And then all of his teammates kept getting engaged, and he didn't want it to seem like he just had to do it just like everybody else. But he said that he's very excited naturally. I don't know how these guys are going to find enough Fridays and Saturdays in the upcoming off seasons to accommodate all of the weddings. There are now 6 Dodgers players that are engaged.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to incorporate the bridegroom's nickname again, as so many have perfectly pointed out on social media with the news of Kike's engagement. David Phelps comes on, trying to protect a 1-run lead. 8th inning, top of the Dodge order coming up. Been a good day for Chris Taylor. 2 hits and a line out. On the first pitch, he takes ball 1.
Good thing he clarified. I had this way before the World Baseball Classic, so I had every intention. But saying, oh, well, I did because everybody else is. I don't know if you want to say that.
It's not the best reason. Seemed like the cool thing to do.
Right. Peer pressure? What? No.
1889 Brooklyn team. Writers named them the bridegrooms. A bunch of the players got married in the previous offseason. So I guess next year's bunch, with all the weddings coming this offseason, would be the bridegrooms. 2-1. Let's go back down to Alana.
He also joked, much like Kike is always doing, that Mariana is actually the one that asked him to marry her, and he said yes.
Oh, okay, I'm sure. A 2-1. Fastball away, 3 balls and a strike.
They may have a throwback day for the Dodgers next year, just so they can wear bridegrooms' uniforms.
That would be neat. Or at least some kind of giveaway. Top of the order for the Dodgers, trying to come from behind here in the first game of the second half. And Chris Taylor opens the inning with a walk. Didn't actually have Dodgers across the front of the uniform until the early 1930s. Brooklynites had developed the moniker of Trolley Dodgers because there was a lot of train lines that ran around Ebbets Field. They had to cross several electric trolley tracks to actually reach the park. So Trolley Dodgers. Tying run on, go ahead run at the plate. Corey Seager, the last time he was up there, left the yard. It's away, ball 1. Phelps has been a good piece of this bullpen that's been solid this year. 30-year-old former New York Yankees, been here in Miami for a few seasons, and is yet another name who people think could move within the next couple weeks. A 1-0. Ball 2 on Seager. Dodgers 24 come from behind wins during the first half. Time and time again, found a way to erase deficits, found a way to finish games off. Trying to come from behind to open the second half. 2-1. Seager laid on a tailing fastball. Three balls and a strike on Seager after the leadoff walk to Taylor, and with Justin Turner and Cody Bellinger looming here in the 8th. The All-Star Seager pops one foul and the count is full. His home run in the 5th inning was his 14th this year. That gave the Dodgers a 3-1 lead. The Marlins with a 3 spot in the 5th against McCarthy and a 4-3 lead as we play here in the 8th. Taylor, some of the best wheels on the Dodgers. Off of first with a full count. See if they put him in motion. Not running. Fouled back. Seager had a red-hot start to the 2nd half last year on his way to Rookie of the Year honors. Home run here in the 1st game of the 2nd half this year. Representing the go-ahead run here in the 8th. Not running. That's hit to short. Speared by Riddle for a double play. Seems like an inordinate amount of those balls tonight off of the bat of Dodgers into the Marlins mitts.
I'll tell you, this ball was hit so hard. Even if Taylor was running on this, I still think they might have been able to turn that double play because he squared it up. And it's a nice play by Riddle, who was just throwing the glove out. That's one of those, as an infielder, it's hit so hard, you're like, it's just do or die. I'm just throwing my hands out there and hope it lands in my glove. And for Riddle, it did.
So big time play for JT Riddle. Wipes the bases clear, and Justin Turner up there representing the tying run with 2 out. Soft ground ball along third, picked up by Prado, and the Dodgers finished in the 8th. A promising start to the inning, squashed by JT Riddle's glove work to the bottom of the 8th in a 1-run game.
At LA is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com.
Marlins Park, which hosted the All-Star Game and the Home Run Derby earlier this week, hosting the Dodgers and the Marlins to open the 2nd half. And Josh Fields on to pitch the bottom of the 8th, trying to keep it a 1-run game. Got off to such a good start this year. Had a sub-1 earned run average in early June, but has given up at least 1 run in 6 of his last 8 outings. Five, 6, and 7 coming up for the Marlins. It's Justin Bour to lead off the 8th. There's a big swing in this game. The 2-out, 2-run double off of McCarthy in the 5th to give the Marlins this lead. Fields misses inside with a fastball. Kind of becoming a fan favorite around here. Keeps doing what he did in the 5th inning in this one. The show that he put on in the Derby on Monday night in front of his hometown fans. Even ate a donut halfway through his round. That's legendary stuff.
Well, you need that boost of energy.
Right, low carb load.
Yeah, sugar and I love the way he was actually playing to the crowd, getting them up. Like let's go. And he did put on an impressive round. Wow.
22 home runs in that first round, but had the unfortunate draw of Aaron Judge, who hit 23 to beat him. Climbs the ladder on this one. It's a high fly ball to right. Puig settles under it and bores the first out of the 8th. July 24th, the Twins are at Dodger Stadium, and one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance. You get a replica Justin Turner jersey. Compliments of United Healthcare. Go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Twins have been in first place in the American League Central much of the year, although they've faded back, now 2.5 behind the Indians. Here's Prado. Nicely placed, strike 1. Middle part of the Dodge order coming up in the 9th inning, likely against A.J. Ramos, who's another potential trade tip for Miami. Trade chip for Miami. One and one. Game 2 tomorrow. Same time, same place. Alex Wood goes for the Dodgers with his 10-0 record against Jose Urena. He's had a pretty good year himself. It'll be Rich Hill in the finale Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning Los Angeles time. Rides inside, ball 2. It was supposed to be Edinson Volquez going for the Marlins, but word is he will not make that start. Still dealing with knee tendonitis. And Miami yet to announce who will. Ball 3. Prado yanks one down the left field line, foul. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Now the payoff. Flied the other way. Yasiel Puig glides back. 2 up, 2 down for Fields here in the 8th. There's Ramos getting ready. Fields trying to work a 1-2-3 inning, keep it at 4-3. Up comes JT Realmuto. Mentioned earlier how good of an athlete Realmuto is. High school in Oklahoma, he was All-State in 3 sports. State champion wrestler. Won a state championship as the quarterback of the football team, and then on the baseball diamond as well, where he was a shortstop. And now an all-star snub, many would say, as a big league catcher. 1 ball and 1 strike. Only became a catcher when his high school team's regular catcher pitched. He would slide from short and catch, and a Miami scout happened to be at one of those games. A couple of innings that he saw. Like some of the raw abilities of Realmuto behind the plate. Talked to him afterwards, got his thoughts on maybe catching. He said, sure, love to give it a try. And foul ground, see if Bellinger has room. Not quite. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wasn't just an athlete, though. They say he was an All-American kid in Oklahoma. Had a 4.0 GPA, 30 on the ACT. Really humble kid. He was headed to Oklahoma State to play baseball for the Cowboys before Miami drafted him. Fields pumps him a 1-2. That's taken in the dirt for ball 2. A great all-around athlete in high school, and now, according to StatCast, he's the fastest catcher in the majors. Two. Ball 3.
Well, he comes into the game with 5 stolen bases. It's one that definitely pitchers, scouting report, and catchers will say, hey, pay attention to him. He will go. He will take the extra base.
Fields blows it by him for strike 3. Middle part of the order coming up for the Dodgers. Down 1 in the 9th. Bellinger to lead it off. Then Forsythe. Then Peterson. Trying to start the second half with some of that first half magic. Sportsnet LA is brought to you by BMW. See a Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers, or visit SoCalBMW.com. And by Jack in the Box. Come try the new sweeter spicy barbecue bacon cheeseburger and chicken sandwich. Limited time only. Big bats coming up for the Dodgers, down 4-3 and down to their last chance. A.J. Ramos, the Miami closer, on to try and finish it off. 17 of 18 this season, although he gave up runs in each of his last 2 outings prior to the break. And the man that he faces off with here is Cody Bellinger. Dodgers have the longest streak as far as they can check it, winning games once they get a lead. 39 consecutive wins once taking a lead. That is the longest in baseball history under record. Starts him off with a slider, misses low, ball 1. Bellinger homered against him when he faced him back in May. That's one of the 3 home runs that Ramos has allowed this year. Is 1-0 in the dirt for ball 2.
Well, Ramos is more effective when he's in for a save opportunity than he has been when it's just to get some work in. And that, you see, that seems to be common amongst closers. But you know, you see that he is successful in save opportunities. 17 for 18.
A hanger grounded to first. Ramos got away with one and barely beats him to the bag for the first out of the inning. And Bob Guerin will go to the phone to check this. Ramos took his time, and as we know, Bellinger can really move.
Ooh. That is really close.
Apparently the look that John Pratt, the Dodger video man, had confirmed that he was just barely out.
It was that last step right before he stepped on the base that Ramos took, where it's almost like a slight stutter step or shortened step before he didn't really lunge at the bag, and that's what made it really close, but definitely beat him.
Strike 1 on Forsythe, who is due some good luck tonight. He has crushed the ball all 3 times he's been up, and nothing to show for it. One ball and 1 strike. After Forsythe, it'll be Jock Peterson. Ramos ready for this 1-1, and Forsythe takes it over the inside corner for strike 2. Six-game winning streak on the line for the Dodgers. Marlins trying to make it 6 wins out of their last 7. With the bases empty and 1 out in the 9th inning. A 1-2 in the dirt for ball 2. If you're wondering, Houston is tied at 1 in the 2nd inning. Dodgers by a half game, the best record in baseball over the Astros. Here comes a 2-2. Forsythe takes strike 3, and the Dodgers down to their final out.
It's a good slider on the outer half. Started on the plate, kind of on the outer part of the strike zone. But it had a good late break and tight spin. That's why Logan Forsythe held up thinking it was going to break out of the zone, but it stayed right in there and just got the corner.
So it's up to Peterson, who missed the home run by mere inches back in the 2nd inning, doubling off the top of the wall. Ramos pitches. Ball 1. 9 homers for Peterson this year, 7 of them since returning from the DL in early June. Over the last month, one of the more productive hitters in the National League. A chance to tie it with 1 swing. High fly ball, but foul, and it's 1-1. Difference in this game, a 3-run fifth. 2-run double from Justin Moore, the key blow. That came with 2 outs against McCarthy. Marlins bullpen thus far has made that hold up. Ramos 1-1. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Two and two. Dodgers down to their final strike. On the 2-2 pitch. It's ripped to right for a base hit. Not dead yet. Jock Peterson with a 2-out single to get Yasmani Grandal to the plate.
Jock Peterson doing a good job staying on that ball, bringing the hands in nicely to be able to barrel it up and keep this inning alive.
Now we know what Grandal's capable of with the Dodgers down to their last bullet. This was in Anaheim a couple of weeks ago, down to their final strike, homered to center field to tie the game. Ultimately, the Angels won that game on a errant throw from Grandal, but that didn't erase the fact that he came through in this same spot. Half his home runs this year have come in the late innings. Peterson leads at first with 2 gone and a 4-3 game in the 9th, the first one. Inside, ball 1. And all back in his hometown. Born in Cuba, moved here to Miami as a child. Started at the University of Miami. The 1-0. Outside for ball 2.
Just off the outer half. It was a good tailing fastball. Good position. Good job laying off it by Grandal.
On 2-0. Caught the corner for strike 1.
That one looked off the plate and slightly was off the plate, but he gets a call. And for Grandal, that wasn't a pitch he wanted to swing at anyway.
Tying run at first, 2 gone, 9th inning. Ramos deals 2-1. Grandal hits it foul, and the Dodgers again down to their final strike. Grandal and the Dodgers making Ramos sweat here in the 9th inning. Peterson off of first. And the 2-2 to Grandal. Way outside, and the tying run moves into scoring position.
This ball just slips out of Ramos' hand. Wow. And right away, he looked at his hand like, what happened there?
First base now open. You know, Ramos would hate to put the go-ahead run on. Although if it feels more comfortable with Puig, it can be careful. The set for the 3-2. Foul back, will do it again. A couple in this inning A.J. Ramos has gotten away with. with a tying run at second. The 3-2. Low for ball 4. So Grandal walks after the Peterson single. And Yasiel Puig coming to the plate. They replace Grandal at first. Trace Thompson will pinch run for him, now representing the go-ahead run. Puig was 1 for 3 tonight with a home run, but has hit it hard all 3 times. He lined out and he hit a bullet on the ground. Bounce by first and foul, strike 1.
Yasiel was upset with himself at that swing. I don't know if he was upset. I mean, that was a fastball that was hittable. I don't know if he was upset with himself that he wasn't like 100% thinking about swinging. Like he was almost a little bit indecisive there.
Here's the 0-1. He offered and he's behind 0-2. The 3rd time the Dodgers have been down to their final strike. In the dirt, kicks away. Puig got a run if there's a check. No swing. So the tying run now 90 feet away. The go-ahead run in scoring position. They just now checked down to first.
Wow, that was weird that the umpire checked that late. Usually that is right away. And even sometimes the first base umpire will call it on his own or right away to let them know because chance to get down. But then when he asked there, I was like, there's no way you could call that if he that late.
Base hit could flip the script here in the 9th. The 1-2. High drive to left center field. Yasiel Puig has gone deep. New half, same story for these Dodgers. Times down to their final strike. Yasiel Puig with a 3-run home run. Unbelievable. But is it really at this point? Now Chase Utley. Ball 1. I mean, come on. I mean, wow.
Oh, he knew it. He did an unbelievable job staying on that pitch on the outer half. Ramos made his pitch. That's exactly where Real Muto wanted it. That's where the glove is. And the adjustment, we've seen Yasiel make adjustments this year. And yes, you can look into your dugout.
His 2nd home run of the night. 18th of the season to put him 1 short of a career high. And now Ramos has fallen behind Utley 3-0. More importantly than any of that is the fact that Yasiel Puig just came through in a huge moment. And that has been a knock on Yasiel throughout his time as a Dodger, that he's been unable to deliver the clutch spots. That's a strike and it's 3-1. And you know, for Dodger fans, it did not look good when he offered on that pitch in the dirt and fell in an 0-2 hole. Checked his swing on another low pitch. and then lifted a 3-run home run with the Dodgers down to their final strike to go up 6-4. Now Utley drives a ball to right center that Stanton runs under, and the inning is over. Do you believe it? They've done it again, folks. Nobody on with 2 out. Peterson singles, Grandal walks, and Puig provides the latest Dodger magic. Has taken us on. Dodgers in front 6-4 on a Yasiel Puig 3-run home run with the Dodgers down to their final strike. Austin Barnes on to catch the 9th inning because Yasmani Grandal was pinch ran for. Kenley Jansen on to try and get his 22nd save in as many tries.
We know how Kenley Jansen's been all year long, but I'm still just thinking about the way this team has been all year long. Coming back, the perseverance, like you said, unbelievable, but at this point it's really not.
Yeah. 8-9-1 coming up for the Marlins. Jansen against JT Riddle. Strike 1. Pitched in the All-Star game on Tuesday night, gave up a base hit but struck out 3. Marlins looking for a base runner before things get too interesting. Off of the hands, the cutter does what it does. 1 out. And it wasn't just Puig. 3 separate Dodgers with 2 outs were down to their final strike. Peterson was able to single. Grandal walked. And then Puig down 1 and 2. Crushed. I mean, crushed a go-ahead homer.
Both his home runs today were crushed.
And you said it on the first replay. He knew exactly what he was getting. A slider down and away. Sat on it and drilled it. Derek Dietrich pinch hitting, taking ball 1. Check swing foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. You know, the Marlins are one of the teams that were in on Kenley Jansen this offseason. Came down to the Dodgers, the Nationals, and the Marlins as Miami really tried to build the back end of the bullpen, knowing that starting pitching was probably going to be an issue. Nasty movement on that cutter. Frisbeeing inside, and it's 1 and 2. the last moment came down really to the Nationals and the Dodgers, and Jansen just couldn't imagine pitching somebody else's colors. Plus, you can't really play California love if you're coming out of the bullpen in Washington, D.C., can you?
Or Florida, or wherever else, right?
Still 1-2. Dodgers 2 outs away from a 7th win in a row, a 27th out of their last 31. And for most teams, it would be easy to say this was the most improbable, but you really have to rack your brain during this stretch to find the other improbable comebacks. 0-1-2. Dietrich pops it back and stays alive.
There was a moment in this game where when they had a wild pitch and they got to second and third in that last inning, and I was thinking, well, why not another one? We've seen that before. So I was like, okay, they're going to tie this on a wild pitch. Or it's going to carry them and they might get guys score from second on a wild pitch.
Looking for a 25th come from behind win. Jansen home 1-2. 2 out. And I've got to imagine there's a snowball effect to that. The more these games you come from behind in, the more comeback wins you get, the more you believe that you're going to do it.
You're absolutely right, Joe. That's the feeling in the dugout, and we've seen this. They've shown it, but you believe it. You end up believing it in the dugout. 3 runs, it's okay. We got 3. We can do this. 1 run, whatever it is. I mean, they believe they can come back probably 4 or 5 runs down. It doesn't matter. But especially when it's only 1, it's like, listen, we just need 1 guy on. Let's go do your job, and they did it.
Top of the order now, D. Gordon trying to extend the Marlins' chances and taking ball 1. If Gordon can reach, they'd get Giancarlo Stanton to the plate. So Gordon could make things really interesting really quickly. The 1-0. Ball 2. If you happen to just be joining us, a 3-run 9th inning on a 3-run homer from Yasiel Puig, with the Dodgers down to their final strike to take a 4-3 deficit, turn it into this 6-4 lead. 2-1 on Gordon. Two 2-2. Marlins down to their final strike. And the Dodger fans that have made the trip here to Miami and from Miami making some noise. Be a lot of them in here tomorrow. Pantone 294 expected to have a big group out here. The 2-2. A bouncing ball off of the glove. Backhand Forsythe. He got him. And the Dodgers win again. A 7th consecutive victory. And there's going to be all kinds of big smiles across Los Angeles once again, thanks to these Dodgers.
I mean, once again, just a full team effort. We talk about this team, how it's everybody. It's not just a couple of people coming through. It's not one part of the lineup. You look at it, the bottom part of the lineup coming through in that last inning to get them the victory.
Who do you think the player of the game should be?
Gosh, so many to choose from. I might guess Yasiel Puig with the 2 home runs.
You nailed it.
All right.
Brought to you by Lexus. A no-doubt shot that broke a 1-1 tie way back in the 5th inning, and then down to their